post the Trump election, trading at 1763 area low today. That's a tough one. So the technicals are not yelling sell. They're not. We don't have an uptrend yet, Nick, but hey, man, you see value in that. How about it? How about it? It's just not for me, bro. But thank you for pointing it out. What else do we have with you, man? There was some more calling out. Yeah, I didn't see it. In any event, Joe, it's still holding the short. What are you looking at?
Yeah, same thing, man. I'm waiting to see if this trade is going to work out for us here. Now, considering I was using my Forex gateway, don't forget, guys, it's actually relatively expensive, especially the more you buy and the more you use it. It can become costly. Instead of me posting up at the lower end of the range, now we're just waiting to see if there's going to be an additional leg lower here. I'm not going to give this too many attempts. Now, I was bringing up the example of what I believe could be going on here with Apple. So what you have is the share buyback program, right? So they're removing inventory off of the market. And what I believe is happening here in Tesla is complete opposite, right? So a lot of people have just been, hey, man, we're not seeing what we like, and we haven't been for quite some time. And it's just unfortunate that you think this heavily dive down. Once again, now we are talking about a $300 level potentially holding here. I think that's going to most definitely be in the works relatively soon. Can find some rebound. And one thing that I was just thinking actually as I was walking back is let's not forget, let's pull up the cues here. What 20, was it 2022? Yeah, that's when I first started. 2022 was 25. It was more of a grinding bear market, right? Like it took a while for things to really break down. And then eventually it found a base. So yeah, right at the start of 22, all the way to the downside, bravely messaged me, yeah, we're gonna have to you drop 33%. So I mean, aside from the Terra Tantrum where things happen relatively quick in the span of a month or two or so, so February all the way down to April, so 3 months, it may take a little bit longer to get the prices than what we're expecting. So just be cautious and don't rush. Don't go full size right out of the gate and just slowly build on it down. I think that's going to be a good opportunity for you. But yeah, Brady, we're going to get to some of your questions momentarily. What we do, yeah, there it is. Like back towards the high end of this resistance zone. I want to see how we react here. Now, we want the momentum to pick up, and we don't want the rejection to be too aggressive. If it is, that will tell me that sellers, aside from what we're seeing from the primary trend, are in complete control of even this secondary trend. There we go. That's the breakthrough. That's the breakdown that we're looking for, my brother. Yeah, so let's see, man. We're going to continuously hold on to this. See if we get there. It is. Oh, my Atlanta. This is in the days event over here. 5% off of that one. So, yeah, not too bad of a look there, man. 2860 off of those lows here in NVDL. Man, oh, man. Some days I can tell you it's like it feels like all right, we're rocking and rolling, and then the other day like Friday, like what is even happening here? But yeah, NVDL and NVDA is still down almost 4, or they are down 4.5%. Just gonna be down double. That's why you do not own these leveraged products because you will lose your money. It's inevitable. I tell that to everyone in the chat. If you take an additional leg higher, then we're going to take some more off.
All right, man. We're still watching LVWR here, continue to put in lower highs, but there continues to be a buyer at 245. I think we've been below it. Let me double check that statement. No, all the candles since the 1140 candle has defended 245. So there is certainly a buyer of note here that continues to defend 245. Does that mean that this trade is the wrong one? I don't think so. I think that the trend is still intact of lower lows and lower highs. Moreover, you're below VWAP. And I will view this as an opportunity to add more in if I like what I see. The area specifically I'm targeting is the high 260s, low 270s, because that we're looking at 275 where VWAP is, right? And then we have that 1140 candle, which has a 274 high. I would say to you, that's the local area high, right? So why does that matter? 274, 275. Because if you're in for a Western order to get more sales, then you got to put it at strategic level when you want to sell, right? If you know it was a 274 seller last time, that's the area high. If you put it at 275, you're not sell. So you kind of take the good with the bad here, you put it a little bit lower, get a work possibly, but you secure the hill. I'm quite happy with my exit here on KITZ. As I mentioned, I know this one
It's
now we're in here to
work with agents locally,
James,
but then
I'm thinking
at the end of the
60.
day,
But
you
I'm
want
not gonna have a good trade. We're gonna wait to see if it does come into 60 and turn back around.
And then you heard right, the way you soccer,
For a long term KITZ. There's some others that go through ENTX.
you
We're
can
gonna pause for a second.
take the
We're gonna
whole
set
way
it
for
up
it to
to
be
CL with halfway
I
down.
think when you're doing location changes, clicking around, going to different. Probably the most exciting part is that local and cloud are really
Let's take a look at the three major averages before we jump right into what's
and then
going
snap it back up to the cloud when you want to. Plus,
Spy currently down 41%. You have the triple Q down very close to 1% on the day.
really
Dow is
to
currently
work
up
with agent
0.14%
locally,
and
then
qualified
at the end of the
qualified
day,
US, that's
you
up
need a set.
0.14% on the day. Let's take a look at SpaceX to start with. SpaceX, SpaceX currently down over 3% on the day. Shares are now off 50% from their all-time highs today. Currently trading around the 111 mark. They were around 109 earlier in the day, which were 50% below its high of $245.64 that are connected shortly after its IPO on June 12th. SpaceX is now traded below its IPO price of $135 in the last 8 seconds. Stock now facing the 10 What we'll take a look at Tesla. Yes, more dominated happening now today, but that's okay. Tesla is currently down 1.3%. You have Deutsche Bank that has cut its price target on Tesla after its earnings. Tesla lack of progress on its robotaxi and humanoid robot products is what is dampening its outlook for the company's shares coming from a statement according to Deutsche Bank. The bank is also reiterated and violating on the stock today as well. But it is also cut the price target for the same to $400 million.
I just say it was hard.
This represents a 34%
Like man, hard work.
price.
Man off.
Shares are probably down
Now first,
1.2% for Tesla. SpaceX sounded with 2% off. They have
What? No, I'll have at the end. I'll give you a bit of a taste. So it looks pretty delicious. It's probably better than the meatloaf that we got, which I didn't exactly think the meatloaf was going to be a gigantic hit, but it is what it is, and there was some good vegetables to go with it. So today, I want to talk about like a pattern recognition thing, and see Sharif on like that live wire, and it reminded me of something that I got back to, which I'll end with, which was sort of obvious, but thankfully there were enough, let's just say, examples of this pattern to be able to then go hunt for it. And all it really is look for something. You know, I look quotes. It's like if it doesn't break below, there's only one place to go, right? So if something hold on to the bottom, obviously it's going to go. It can't do worse than give you some kind of a bounce for long. But it works the same way if something makes a fresh high early in the pre-market. And this is especially true of those small cappers. Now, we all were excited about Edible because of what it was doing in the pre-market, looking super strong. But it is worth noting that when you got to the open, it did one of the most, it's about as violent of a reversal as you can get. All that said, if the first thing it does is fail to make a fresh high off of the open, put in a lower one, and then break support, you can have that trend down. But what's really going on here? It's the false break or that failure at the high on exuberance that just sets up a reversal trend. And it's one of the reasons that you'll see. It's one of the reasons that you'll see Luis talk about that setup all the time, where there's your false break at the open, it makes a top. Then you get a lower high, and all of a sudden you're trending back, even if you're still up. This is live wire after the open market. Now, the one thing that I always say that I love is the setup where it gives you this, a false break of a high, but it's just at a prior resistance level. I'm not saying it's free money, but if you can find a situation where a stock is not only failing at the open, like doing a false break at a high, putting an obvious lower high in,
but it's also doing so with resistance. That's every good as buying a dip on a strong stock. And I was reminded of this when it's like, what am I even thinking about? Last week, I think every single day at the end of last week, like Lucid just ended up being my best short. It was cascade down on Wednesday. It was pop and fade on Thursday, and it was pop and fade again, failed the prior high on Friday. And then what does it do this morning? Well, paying attention to other things, there's some other stuff out there to trade it. But this goes right in, fails the high break, and then puts in a lower high, and then from then on, it just turned into short. It's the pattern. Like, look at what it did on Friday and look at what it did today. Fails the same high break, puts in a lower high, and then just starts dying on V1 once, twice, thrice. Puts in a high, fails above 650, puts in a lower high, and then just V1. Now imagine if you're paying close attention to only that pattern. That's all you need in the day. Now imagine you're a small cap trader that is simply looking for that one reversal pattern where it fails the high, puts in a lower high, maybe it loses VWAP, or you're just playing off that lower high. That's all you need. You only really ever need just one good pattern, one good trade that you're looking for. And you know what? If you're a short only, a small cap trader on gappers, there is nothing wrong with that. As long as you recognize that there might be some days that nothing sets up for you, or nothing sets up till 11 o'clock, or maybe you have 2 or 3 really good setups and you've got to take them all. You really just have to look at what is the pattern that I'm trying to observe here. If it does it, great. If you want to trade it in both directions and it's making higher highs, higher lows, fantastic. Do that too. Like I would give you the example of kids. Like kids would be the example of the trade where, hey, it does exactly the same thing that the shorters would be looking for. By the time it gets to the open, this is 9:30. Like it's already doing the move to the downside. Right? So if you're someone that's waiting for a long, then maybe you had to wait until 11 o'clock. Or maybe you took your shot, multiplied 1, 2. You had 3 shorts in this, and the last one lost. That's another thing that you've got to be able to understand. Like I wanted to show an example where this didn't work. But if you are trading that strategy, then maybe you like pre-market, you're short here. Maybe you like the open, you're short there. But you're probably short here too. And ultimately, that's probably a losing trade. And I think one thing that when you're pattern trading or you have a specific style or strategy is the idea is you're supposed to take every positive expectancy. That's the reason why I was mad at myself over at Lucid. Because if you're looking for a pattern and you get it, you're supposed to hit it every single time. So you got to have it here, here, and ideally there. You got to have it here, here, and then again there. And if it works 4 times out of 6, great. If it works 3 times out of 6, great. If it works 2 times out of 6, as long as it works overall, you're supposed to take the shot from the pattern. That's one of the reasons why I know the trades are gravitating and even for looking at the reversal. Because realistically, if you observe something that is true in the market and has a positive effect, one thing that I am sure of is that it's guaranteed up. It's not going to get easier over time as more people look at it. So you've got to take advantage of it while it's working. If a pattern is there, if it's there for 3 or 4 days, you got to hit it for those 3 or 4 days because it might slow down. And it's very, very important. I'm that myself in the movie can't and really sit at it. And that's what you should know what your core strategies are. What is the setup I'm looking for? What's the number one thing that I want to see happen before I execute a trade? And then, regardless of whether you're up or down, did you see it? Did you do it? I can't tell you how many times I've said, oh, this is a good day trade for us. I'm not looking great. It's like, oh my goodness, I missed an 8+7. I'll do myself in half if I miss 7. I would say what to do. If you see a pattern that's really good and you don't take the trade, but you know you're great trade, then you never did a mistake. And that's the part of the analysis, the part of reading yourself, the part of journaling. But I think a lot of people miss is it's not just about whether a good day or a bad day with the trades that you made. Did you take advantage of your best available setup? Did you trade the lowest hanging fruit in terms of what it is that you're doing. That needs to get itself on. And I want to give a big shout out. I'll have the pepperoni slice first.
This right here's $15,000 for a reason. Look,
So, that's pretty usual. That's pretty usual. Want to give a big shout out to all of our viewers for sure. But man, you can't keep sending us pizza like this because it's too delicious. And thank you guys so much. The lesson of the day, look for pattern recognition. And if the pattern is we put on a good show and we get some pizza at lunch, then I'm fixing to pack on a few pounds this rate. So thank you very much, guys. Take you guys back to the midday. This is delicious. Enjoy.
We have to, we also, hold on, we gotta tell Randy something here. Pizza. Randy, VinFast continues to expand beyond vehicle sales. Did you know that? Okay. This week, VinFast India, Randy, they partnered with Shriram Finance to support EV financing access. And then Green SM, they launched an all-electric ride-hailing service in Kazakhstan, and they're using VinFast VF6 vehicles. Together, these moves are highlighting VinFast's broader mobility ecosystem strategy. Randy, if you're interested, you can find them trading on the NASDAQ under the ticker VFS.
I think you took you serious there, man. I think he was like,
Anytime
you're having the
cars,
yeah, that's the best.
he's hyper-focused.
Brandy's looking for the pizza, but here we go.
What do you
I see now that you said I get money, it's Sean. You have to come up with your own. I think there's we're hearing this. There's even more part of the crowd. Ready to talk about it. It's a nice little job on that. I mean, a couple of times. Listen now, he did find a base now started for the cover. But this bounce off the low, you could have got a little bit better of a price, but that's not necessarily the case that we're sitting in right now. What's up, Denise? So we're fortunate enough to get this move over up here. Now I'm sitting up 10% in my position. Now, the optimal is looking to head into what's the volume weighted average price. There might be a little bit of a stretch here considering these bodies. Yeah. Small scalp for the short side and NVDL, and then you try to wear for the sketch. You just have to be patient enough. I mean, we're on to 11:42, so 2 hours and 10 minutes after you open. And then you get stopped up in between, just like you did for a bit on the NASDAQ. For me, it's been a roller coaster up on Monday. And I'm all right with that. Highest point of the day, then we end up getting into the story back. What's going on here? But here's something that takes reloaded up here, and then have to put this right back into a position to aim this into
Well said, Joe. Well said. There we go. We're back in the KIDZ here. We're looking for a move back up to about 70. We're below the 10 EMA though, Bubba. So this sometimes acts as a local area of resistance, and you can see the seller at 64, ironically enough, right where the 10 EMA is. Now, let's try to get 60 zeros. I'm very alive to it. I fumble on the keys for some reason, and then turn around them. So we're in at a less than advantageous price, but I'm looking for a big move up and the 60. Okay. Now, I want to bring a couple of other names to your attention here that I've said, I didn't mention at the top, but I've said very little about subsequent. ENTX. My days is this one handling 390 in a very, very kind of bearish way. I mean, look at this. We didn't have any closing price with the exception of one above 390. That's a 1045 candle. That is the only candle on the 5-minute chart to close above 390. So we were making the point earlier that it was a flat top break through into 4. Okay, possibly that was correct at the time. Now, we've got to be really alive to the fact that we're unable to make it into 4. And that is because short sellers are getting a bit more aggressive. So we have to be alive to that so that we're not, trying to take the breakout here at incorrect levels. So I continue to like this area defend, especially at the walk 3 1/3, 3 1/2 in between there. But I'm also very much displeased with the 390 seller that keeps showing up. BIYA, kind of a similar look, but not exactly. It's got higher lows, but by the same token, it's got lower highs. It's above VWAP rather than below. And, it's got a lot of resistance at 4. It hasn't been above 4 since about 10:55. So over an hour and 15 minutes ago. So I'd like a move above 4. Otherwise, I don't get involved with BIYA. But yeah, that's what I'm watching now. We're involved again in KIVZ. We're still holding the short here on whatchamacallit, LVWR. And the deal is, LVWR did pretty good because that 45 seller ended up getting clipped to the tune of 238. So that we do have the low of the day on that. Not the low of the day, sorry, the local area low. The low of the day technically is 155. But that was done very early on in the breakout. So LVWR is still in focus for now. Last but not least here, I want to mention CORD. CORD. Multi-day play. We had this one on Fridays. Kind of, as you can kind of see there, it had a nice breakup there, bull flag, found support at around 12 o'clock, and it started putting in an upward channel. It didn't end up turning into a second bull flag. Today we have yet another bull flag. I would say probably bull pennant because the compression that's happening here, lower highs but higher lows. $9 here at the 905 seems like the kind of the midpoint of the range. So be alive to that. But I could be interested here on board in the same way that I could be interested along on BIYA, the same way that I could be interested on along on ENTX, but they just got to set up the right way. So that's all I've got for now. Bubin, Bubin had a couple of other ones there. DFNS, hold it. Thank you, Bubin, for that. Let's bring in. What are we going to do here, Joe? Who are we going to take off? We're going to take off Assam. DFNS. Thanks, guys. And Golf Fishing says as well, oh my days, what is this? BFNS, halted to the upside, $8.21. Bam. Through that $7 VWAP area. Oh my God. And now we're halted at 821. Funny enough thing is though, we're not even at the day high. Now we're at the official day high of 821 because that's subsequent to 930. But you take a look at the price action from 4 a.m. We got the 865 on that fairly candle, then 405, we got the 828. So we still might have some bag holders and some upward resistance because I got to tell you that 4 a.m. candle was pretty liquid. About almost 300,000 shares trading hands there. The 405 candle about 142,000. So that's some good volume there, guys. So be on the lookout. I'm definitely interested in this once it does resume. So let's load it up on the take the NTX and now we'll leave the NTX and go on the SOL 20. Yeah, nice. Let's load this up. So here we are. This is a NASDAQ name. That's good. So we can see exactly where the top is while we're halted. And the top right now, Mr. Options Man, showing 824. Halt price 821. Halt time 12:14:48. Current time 12:16. 12:17:09. Okay. So we've got another. I would say the earliest time we'll open is 12:19:48. Got about another 2.5 minutes on this bad boy before it opens up. So definitely interested on this. So Show Bro 43 says FIEE. Say that. Yeah, so someone did point this out to me. So it's up big, right? Like it's up 172%. Right, halted again at 764, but the volume is absolute crap. 814,000 is what we're trading on this. Let's put it up on the side for FIEE. Let's see exactly. So we're still halted. Yeah, I got it. But just give me a sec to enlarge since I wrote FIEE. Let's throw this one up. And see what kind of technicals we have on this monster here. So we do have a couple of holds, right? Get a longer hold around 6.5. Kind of an undiscernible trend. You have the lower highs and you have higher lows. VWAP here, not really active as any area of resistance, just cutting through the middle of the price action. So I'd be very alert to that and not use it as any area of support. You do have higher lows, as I mentioned, so 650 area support, and then here on the last red candle, $7 area support. FIEE, not my favorite, but it's up big on the day, so I won't keep it up on here should it break down. Let's pause for a second, pause some more small caps, see ya. Small cap market.
The RW on this currently at 0.27% right now. Let's take a look at 3 individual tickers. TSHD. Jim Boo said it's sure the up over 6% on the day. As late on Friday, we received an analyst on GT that has center performed by RDC Capital. We have LVWR that is live wired up 71% over on the day. Q2 revenue is 55%, and the company is seeing spirit sales so reported for the weekend late Friday. You go to CVRA as well. Zero Therapeutics just maintained at 5 by Canaccord Genuity. Ticker is up almost 1.5%.
You know what I believe in, no matter what.
All right, good stuff. Thank you very much for that. So here it is, 6201. Gets a pop up here, all the way back over to 63, a little bit more than that, and then starting to come right back in. Now, I mentioned the fact that we have to be cautious in case this is just a breath in some of these things, right? So you have this pullback, you have the relief rally, but now you're headed right back towards the middle of the day, and a lot of these things. What's that? Anyways, we'll figure that out again momentarily. But aside from that, oh man, what a disaster. But here, so what I'm going to do is I'll head over to what we have here on NVDL. And I don't believe I'm going to look for the reload on this. Could I be absolutely wrong? And with that being said, the fact that I don't want to could be a good opportunity for us to do exactly that. Here. So what I'm looking at here, guys, you can see the weakness within the NASDAQ. So let's head over to our memory storage names and see what's going on. Now, this isn't anything different that we haven't seen over the past couple of weeks. Look how much stronger these down days are compared to what we're seeing in the markets. So what I'm getting at here pretty much is the fact that how do we have the ability to identify bull traps? Well, the volume can tell you a lot, but also the strength within the recovery days. Now, it can get you here, absolutely. But hindsight being 2020, as you look back, this trend has been fully intact and hasn't been breached. So what I'm going to be looking for is where are we going to bottom out? I think this will be overkill, but the market has no issue with overkill, whether it be to the long side or to the top side. That would be a 68% pullback. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the narrative. But what I want us to see here in some of these names and within this specific space is basics started to form. And then eventually it'll start to roll over. Because they weigh so much significantly more from a market cap standpoint now, collectively than what they did. They have a larger influence within the Nasdaq itself, all right? So when you have SK Hynix down 9.9%, DRAM, SPX, Seagate here, Western Digital, SanDisk, Micron, all down single digits or double digits, mid-single or double digits, it's going to weigh a lot here on the Nasdaq, and that's exactly what we're seeing. It doesn't help that NVDA is down 5% either, and I mentioned, I believe this is just the start of the pullback that we're going to get here in AMD, sorry. We're down 17%. I'm going to be looking for a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if we do fall into that 25 to 30% range, just considering this shelf that we're forming is kind of prolonging the pullback. So you have a bunch of individuals who are looking to either swing trade them or day trade and getting trapped within this range, thinking that you're going to make that additional leg higher. Now, can we? Absolutely. I just don't think that's the narrative right now. You want more of a healthy price action because you fall into the exact same narrative in which I was referring to before. Down 47% in SanDisk. If you have more of an ebb and flow within the underlying asset, it gives you back. So it's like, okay, you climb 5%, you come back 3, you climb another, you come back 2.5, instead of just going parabolic to the tune of multiple 100%, and then now you're just stuck looking like, what's going on? You were so strong a couple of weeks ago, and now you can't even find any form of recovery. I like to see more of a clean ebb and flow in my price action. We didn't get that in the memory names. It was parabolic, and then now some people unfortunately started to pay that from us.
All right, DFNS. Wow, what a show that was. Breakout. We got all the way into the high of the day, 940. We had like 898, 887 at the best, but it failed, so I had to stop out for the last remaining amount. What a move down. 940 high. Funny enough, it's still holding trend. So prior bar low, the candle that opened this thing again, man. DFNS. So prior bar low on DFNS is 841. Okay. So let's see if it holds prior bar low. I'm going to go long here. Let's go at 837. 822. Okay, so what do we got? We got 69 down. Okay, that's a very good sign. So we're putting some in the 80s. Let's go ahead and put some in the 90s. Seller here at 85, guys. Watch out for the flush. Seller at 85. Let's put a liquidity tester just below 9, then a little bit higher than 9. Let's see if we get on this one. So continue to watch. I don't want a loss of higher bar low, and I'm seeing a seller in the mid 80s preventing us from ascending here. So that's the situation. We lose prior bar low. I stop out. There it goes. Red back into 890s. Let's see if we can get a little bit higher here. Looking for 9. What a fail. Back down. Buyer at 70. It's going to lose trend here. Right into the 60s we go. Low 60s. No, low 60s. So it doesn't look like it will hold trend. Right back into the 70s we go. So wow, this is a lot of resistance in the high 80s. I figured, we're going to at least get to 8 to 10 here, given, the price action into 940, but not a straight line anyway. We still got 69s on, showing some seller here at 80s. Okay, we've got the peak there. So yeah, I want to see it move back above 9. It doesn't look like it's readily apparent whether that's going to happen or not. So yeah, just going to stick with the same plan. Let's see if we stop out. There it goes, right back into 9, taking out all my orders. Nice. All right, looking for more, Mr. Option Man. Let's put 25s on, and then we're going to
Something stepping in.
Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, something stepping into the market. Big time spike there, guys. The volume following it as well. We'll get to that. We'll get that to you momentarily. To pull up our chart here. Yeah, so 1 minute time frame, you get into the nitty gritty and the detail. There is clearly a catalyst stepping in here as we find some form of recovery. We see that reflected here in NVDA and in the NASDAQ. So we're only moments away until we're going to send it probably over to the desk to see exactly what that is. Now, what could be some other names that have been affected by this? Let's pull up AMD and see if the volume is reflecting there. Yeah, bang. We'll head over to the SPY. This isn't a volume spike out of nowhere. Unless someone just got absolutely rinsed and they're like, okay, you're gone. But you can see it's across the board on a bunch of different names. We'll head over to Micron. You see the memory storage.
Is it pumping or going down?
We're going up. Volume going up. Yeah, we're going up. SNGK probably be the same thing. You can see the volume start to kick in here, guys. So yeah,
Trump.
Moments away. You have something?
Yeah, we have it. You send it to the desk.
I didn't get anything in my ear.
All right, let's send it to the desk.
Okay, I'm seeing comments from President Trump. Quote, from President Trump, quote, Iran wants to meet and we're meeting. There's a chance we can make a deal with Iran. So again, President Trump saying once again that Iran wants a meeting and there's a chance that they could make a deal here. Apparently Iran has used surrogates to request a deal. Now, what's interesting here is Iran actually said earlier today they were not negotiating. They haven't been negotiating. There is no or that 10-day pause on hostilities. That was being reported in countries leading out politics.
Visceral reaction to what President Trump said. You guys always make me talk. It's so entertaining.
He was here to save the day, man.
Oh, I'm not commenting on it one way or another. I'm just commenting on our values.
Yeah. No, I'm saying the market getting destroyed. True. It's timing. Bang, just like that. We're right back. We're not. There's some cautious of these problems, guys. If we're really weak, then you'll see the opposite side of the participants step in and put price right back down again. So keep your eyes on it. I was thinking about a rebound, but I'm like, you know what? There's no point in me really doing that. To be honest, so we'll just allow this to rock and roll. If we do put it back into VWAP, then we'll be sitting in.
There's a rock in this socket saying about the center console.
President Trump is gangling with the press against an Air Force One, and that's what these comments coming from. So making, I think you guys know here as well. He's going to be speaking a couple times this afternoon, and it's going to be really tail end of the day, and then yeah. So 1:55 p.m. They'll be on camera doing a flag race legal demonstration. They'll be participating in a tour and ceremony starting at 2:10 p.m. At 2:50 p.m. They'll be delivered alongside the lead. They're supposed to be on the army. The hit more details will let you know. Here's some conversations the press said that again, Iran wants to meet and they're meeting. He also says that the U.S. has a lot of ammunition.
Yeah, it's like serious damage. This thing is shot. All right, we're doing it so far.
Missiles being built, he says. Yeah, I guess that's part of the ammunition. I'd like to have more ammunition. He said. Haven't talked to Saudi Arabia about the Accords, which is interesting there because he was trying to tie the nuclear deal to the Abraham Accords, which is interesting. It is. I think sort of a strategic opportunity for the Middle East to take advantage of American sort of interest in letting have or helping support the nuclear, clean nuclear technology. Because you look at some of the water situation in the Middle East, it's kind of tenuous. Desalination probably is going to be the way that they go, I think, into the next part or the second half of this century. But
You think so?
yeah. And so nuclear energy is super good for that, obviously, because desalination is very energy heavy. I'd like to see exactly how that all works out. Egypt being talked about there, Saudi Arabia, first and foremost, they're going to be probably going through them. They got the big pockets, just juice up the American companies a little bit, start pumping, start taking on the ocean. That's what they do, though. Desalination, they're already doing that in UAE. Problem is, though, desalinized water, less than minerals. Yeah, so sometimes they have to inject minerals naturally into the desalinized water. Yeah, and not to come in there as well. Right? So nuclear is just an advanced steam engine for now. You're absolutely right, James. Oh, that's exactly what it does, baby. But that's all they need, man. That's all they need. So that they can do. You know what that one goes? That's the Canadian design. We're trying to export that to some money. They can do nuclear reactor as well. Yeah, there's a new version of that. Stack, maybe back. Watch BWAP. Great. Let go. Let's get in, my man. Adam James Abroad. Been watching Stack. I had it up on my watch list there just as a holdover from Friday. So I was watching it break out there, and I was like, okay, it took $4. It's above BWAP. Good look, good look. But when you look at the multi-day time frame, I think we're still putting some lower highs at. I'm definitely keeping an eye on that $5 level, but ultimately I'm going to be looking at 4 to 5 a.m. break, which is right about that 6.48 area. But STAK was all sorts of strong. Your friend Adam James Abroad was messaging me after I was on Friday. Like it's still ripping. So the chart is moving up big. So very pleased, my man was able to print multiple storms on that. Shout out to Adam James Abroad. Let's pause for a second and set it up.
Thank you. Let's take a look at the market right now. The SPY currently down a very little percent, but it is still towards the red in the day. Let's take a look at sectors right now.